Ash vs. Evil Dead Episode 6, The Killer of Killers. I think this is probably the craziest episode that we've had. I don't know if I'd call it the best one. It was definitely a great episode. They've all been great, but this one definitely had the craziest opening out of any episode. And it had a pretty surprising ending because honestly, with a lot of TV shows, even though it should be clear cut, like, oh, I figured out the answer, you're not a bad guy, let's work together. That never happens in a lot of TV shows. It's always like the person that stayed solitary stays solitary because they already established like the trio or the quartet, and they don't ever add people in. Really early on, they wait till like season 3, and it's like I'm officially joining, all the other characters. So I was really glad to see that just by the end of this episode, Amanda was like, "Well, all right, like." Ash is like, hey, come with us, because we could use someone with your skills, even though he said it wrong. It just made perfect sense. I was like, I'm so glad they did that, and they didn't waste time where she's like, I gotta figure this out on my own and stuff. It's like, no, you figured it out in the first episode. Your partner died, you've had to fight back. You've seen that happen. You've seen a crazy freaking hand, you've had to fight the guy in the bookstore, and then all the craziness of this episode. And she was like, you know what? That works. So I love the way that they ended this episode. Crazy, crazy start. Like, I don't even know what in the world they're going to do. I think we only have, I believe this is only going to be a 10 episode season. So we only have like 4 more episodes. And then the next one seems like it won't have anything to do with Ruby. She could have a side story, which is kind of been her thing in each episode. We could get like just one scene, which is pretty much how they've had her parts in the last few episodes. And we see exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure she's not dead. I think this was some crazy, weird hell teleportation type explosion, even though the skeleton body blew up, like the Brujo skeleton, that blew up and like the arm flew towards the camera and everything, but I don't think they would kill her off, because obviously that would just be kind of stupid, because no one, as much as Amanda is curious, I don't know if she'd get into all the crazy details, like, why'd you guys kill Ruby? And I'm not 100% sure if she even heard what the skeleton was saying or anything like that, so I'm not sure if she even got all those answers or all that dialogue. But when I heard it, I was just like, what in the world is going on now? So she was working with the deadites, double-crossed them. They, obviously don't want her to get to Ash or get to the book because that could end them. And so she gets thrown into this fire, and initially I thought she was gonna get thrown into the fire and she'd like roll out of it or whatever and just be wounded. And then this crazy explosion happens, and poof, she's just gone. So I'm assuming she's in hell, which, if that is the case, that's like the end of the road type of thing. So I don't know if we're gonna somehow get hell, maybe like the season finale, they go to hell or something crazy like that, because they're going to the cabin. And the last time Ash was at the cabin, he was sent back in time. So who knows? Maybe a portal to hell makes perfect sense. But which I'd love to see. I'd love to see the Evil Dead universe's like vision of hell. That would be insane. But that's a crazy thing for them to do. I don't know what to expect, because otherwise she would still be on Earth, just somewhere locked up or something like that. So I would have to assume she's in hell. But we still have to get like all those answers, and I don't know what they could possibly be. I mean, it seems pretty obvious as far as why she turned on the deadites, because they're the deadites, so she probably got all the information on Ash, and that's how she found out, because otherwise she wouldn't know who Ash even was. It would have just been a bunch of people died at the cabin, and that's all there is to it. She wouldn't know who Ash was, and I never really questioned it until this episode. It's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. She was working with the deadites, and that's how she got the information on who was in the cabin, because the deadites are basically like a hive mind, sort of thing. Even though they work individually, it's kind of like a hive mind. It's like just one great demon, pretty much, possessing all these different bodies. And it made sense. I was like, oh, I guess that's how she knew Ash's name, because I never even thought, how would she know who Ash was? It's not like the place was being recorded or anyone else survived, and he barely did, because he got sent back centuries into the past. So there was really no record of who or what even remotely happened there, outside of everyone died and there was deadite stuff around. So it made sense. That's probably how she got Ash's name, from the deadites. And then she was like, oh, I'll work with you guys. You guys want to take him down because he defeated you. I want to take him down because he screwed things up and got my, sister killed. So she sets up that plan, and then of course she tricks him over because once again they're deadites, and it's like, well, I'm gonna get my revenge on him, and I'm gonna lock you guys away now that you're free, and that's pretty much how everything fell apart. So I don't know where they're gonna take Ruby's character, but that's what I'm looking forward to. That was my favorite part of this whole episode because of all the crazy questions that it brought up, and the big question of where in the world is she now, if she's on Earth at all. So looking forward to whatever answer we get out of that. I don't know if it'll be. I would assume we're gonna get something before the season ends, but I just don't know what to expect. But I'm looking forward to that. Rest of the episode was really good too. We got Pablo and Kelly talking about what happened when Kelly was possessed. Pablo dealing with the fact that he obviously has feelings for Kelly, which was obvious from the first episode, really. And then Kelly having sort of altered emotions and actions during the time she was possessed, and Pablo trying to figure out, was it any part of that you? Which at one point I thought she was gonna say like, oh, yeah, I do have certain feelings for you. I'm not 100% sure, maybe, or something like that. It wouldn't just be like, yeah, I like you and stuff. But I thought it'd be something, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, they're gonna really talk this out and kind of just spit everything out. And then it was like, I think you're this, and then she's like, you're innocent and you're nice and this. I was like, this is really good news for him. And then it was like, but I would never think of you in that way, and the demon must have twisted it and stuff. And it's like, and just straight downhill for Pablo again. So that really sucked. And she didn't say it, but it was like right back to the whole best friend type of thing. I believe she may have called him like a brother. I'm pretty sure that's what she said. But it went right back to that, and I was like, that sucks. I thought it was going somewhere great, and it probably wouldn't have happened right then, but I was like, at least they're going to talk about it and say, like, it could happen, but it was just like, nope, you're great in this, and then best friends and stuff. So I was like, that kind of sucks. But it was really good. I think, despite the fact that they talked about it, it was only like one real conversation. So that's going to come up again for Pablo, trying to really figure out how to continue on from there, because he basically had a moment that he really wanted between him and Kelly, and it was the demon the whole time. And we still technically don't know 100% how Kelly feels, but I'm sure, they probably won't turn that into a full-on relationship for like 3 seasons or something. That probably wouldn't happen to like season 3 or 4, just because it's the obvious one. But a lot of shows have the obvious relationship, and it takes forever for it to culminate, really. So we'll see how all that stuff works out. But I did enjoy the scenes. We already had the necklace reacting to something. The Necronomicon was trying to apparently eat it, which I don't know. I don't know what the heck that meant. It seemed like it was trying to take it because it would have made it stronger, or it could have been it was trying to devour it because it could actually be used to stop other deadites. So don't really know at this point. I mean, we had like the normal action scene where they kind of chop up the deadites and stuff like that, but I don't know, maybe it was trying to get rid of the necklace before it could be used as a weapon. And maybe it's kind of like, maybe it's like Ash's amulet from the first movie and the second movie, I guess. The little necklace that he had, that basically stopped him from becoming a deadite when he actually turned into one. So maybe that's kind of what the necklace will do for Pablo in a future episode, or maybe he can use it and, show someone else, just like how, Ash really just looked at the necklace, and that was pretty much it. And it turned him human again. So maybe that's kind of what they're kind of teasing at a little bit. It obviously has some importance to the Necronomicon if it was trying to literally absorb it, which was a really cool scene. Because I've never, outside of Army of Darkness, where the Necronomicon was like biting Ash and stuff like that, we've never really seen the Necronomicon move or anything. And it seemed like, for once, this creepy actual skin face seemed like it would move like a legitimate face, like it could talk or something, but it was just basically like trying to absorb the necklace. But it was a cool scene. It was like just a little glowing portal inside of its mouth, which was probably straight to hell. But I actually liked that scene, and it was a nice little tease to some other crazy stuff that might come up with the necklace and what it can or possibly can't do to help the rest of the team. So I enjoyed that. Of course, all of the action in this episode was really crazy. Like there was some stuff, I think, excuse me, the first initial wave when it was a giant gust that blew in those two girls from outside, and I think it killed three people and turned the other two that weren't main characters, so it wiped everyone out in one go except for that little kid. So the girls come in, they both die. The first girl, they showed her skate drop right into her head, which surprised me. I thought they would kind of just be, messed up. But it was a cool looking shot because they have it from the outside, and then they show the inside shot where they're flying across, and it was actual people, and I'm guessing they had them on some strings and just yanked them through, blow the window and pulling through. But it was really cool. It was very practical, and I was like, that looks really sweet. They killed the cook, who was the husband of the waitress, who, of course, I knew Ash was going to dine and dash as soon as he was like, oh, like, once he was like, you guys, go ahead and get in the van, I was like, he's just going to dine and dash. I knew that was, what was going to happen. That would have been much simpler compared to what he had to deal with, but it was definitely cool. I love that first initial, burst. And then we have Amanda's, I guess he was her boss. I mean, I don't know if they were on the same level or not, but she mentioned like he could call in, so they may have just been co-workers and he wasn't a boss or anything. But he gets turned, the waitress gets turned, they fight each other, and then when they killed the kid, I was very surprised by it. That was like the second most shocking moment of the entire episode. Of course, the first was Ruby, but I didn't think the kid was actually gonna die. I thought, even when the guy grabbed him, I thought he was going to be like, now you can't do anything because basically I have a hostage. And he just throws him straight up in the air and he just gets chopped up, which was crazy because it was a wooden fan. So it was kind of crazy that happened anyway. But it like hit him hard enough to where he bled, and then he basically got electrocuted once it, started to like fall onto the wall. And I was like, holy crap. I thought he was going to grab him and it would be like, most shows, a hostage thing. But this show isn't most shows, and it's deadites, and they don't give a crap. He was just like, boom, straight up in the air, killed the kid, and I was like, wow, that was pretty nuts. I didn't think they were going to kill that kid. So that was a crazy moment. Who knows who he was with, because he seemed like he was there by himself too, which was kind of weird, but I guess it doesn't matter, because they just tossed him straight up, he dies. A pretty cool action scene consisting of Ash and Amanda, dealing with the deadites. Then we get Kelly and Pablo in there to get the full assist. They throw the chainsaw, they throw the shotgun, and it was just really cool. After that, it was just like Ash doing his thing, then the waitress comes back through. Pablo, and I mentioned this before, every time he does something, it's like, I got this. He has like a really cool, like, Matrix style slide, like he's just like boom, 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 and shoots her up, and it's like, oh, he's out of bullets. And of course, he's like, oh shit, like I thought that was gonna work, and it didn't. Like he does every single time. Try this thing, crap. And then of course Kelly came in, and kind of like their discussion, Pablo mentioned like her going on this quest of revenge, which was her hidden reason for not wanting to get rid of the Necronomicon, so that she could constantly get her revenge. That really showed by the end of this episode, and they didn't have the reaction. Pablo didn't have the reaction. I thought like Ash wasn't there during that conversation, so it was just like, oh, cool. But with Pablo, I thought he would be a little worried about it, but they were both kind of just like, she needed that. I was like, yeah, she really did, and she certainly did. I think that we'll have to wait until the next episode technically to see exactly how it affected her and how much she's kind of losing it just to try to take out more deadites. So we'll have to see if this really kind of helped her a lot. But it was pretty nuts. Like she goes in, she pushes her in. As soon as they went through the door and it panned past like the little deli slicer, I was like, that's what they're gonna use. And of course, she's like slicing her head, then she's bashing her head once the thing stops working. I was like, man, she really went nuts on that, and it was crazy, Evil Dead gore and everything. But I certainly loved it. It was really cool. Ash, when he got the chainsaw and he like cut the guy's stomach open and then he like blew his head off and stuff. It was just the typical gore I was expecting. And then there were the moments that I wasn't, like the kid dying. I didn't expect the cook to die. I thought he was just gonna like fly back and get knocked onto like the grill. And I was like, nope, there's like a piece of wood in his head, so he was dead. I didn't think that the second girl was gonna die either, because they showed the first girl with the skate in her head. And I was like, oh, the other girl is just gonna get up too, and then Ash was between both of them, and the second girl was just face down with blood coming out. So I was like, man, they went all out as far as just craziness for this one, and I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Um, Lots of great, both special effects, as well as practical effects, like the special effects on the first skeleton. I thought it was pretty good. It did make me laugh when I first saw it because it instantly took me back to Army of Darkness when they fight. The whole end battle of that movie is just them fighting skeletons, and then the evil, like the deadite Ash, and the like deadite princess as well. So when I first saw it, it made me laugh because every time I think of Army of Darkness, I think of the scene when all the skeletons are leaving. They're like, "Let's get the hell out of here." So that was the first thing that came into my head because that always makes me laugh. But then it got fairly serious, and it was nice and creepy. Like, it's kind of burnt up. It kind of had like some intestines left over a little bit, and I was like, it actually looks pretty cool. Of course, it's CG, so you can't. There's no way to possibly make that look super insanely realistic. But I think it looked good for what it was, and I certainly enjoyed, obviously, everything that happened between the skeleton and Ruby. So I don't know what to expect from that, but I certainly love this episode. Great surprise ending as far as I'm concerned. I did not expect this to end with Amanda joining the team. I really thought it would get really crazy and Ash would kind of take off in the middle of everything, like, oh, they killed the Deadites, and she's slightly distracted. Let's get the heck out of here because she's trying to kill me or something. And then instead, it's like, nope, we went through this. You found out the truth. I'm not a killer. I'm the killer of killers. Let's work together. And so they leave Ruby's car, which is another thing. It was like she didn't take the car. So we might get Ruby in the very next episode, maybe possessed or something. And then it'll be like, all right, found my car. Because every episode, she's in the last place that they were in. So this kind of keeps in line with that, sort of, her sort of side storyline. And then we'll somehow pick up her being brought back to Earth or whatever. And it's like, all right, here's my car again. And then she'll have to go off and try to find them. So I think they may have done that on purpose because I would have taken the car personally. Like, I know we're working together, but let's have two cars instead of just taking one. Although it wasn't her car, so maybe, I don't know, cop stuff was in her mind, I guess. But I'm looking forward to this next one for sure. I love the forest. When they had the part with Ash's friend Lem when he was in the forest, that was really cool too. I was like, I wondered where that was, like where they actually filmed that at, and I was thinking like, I wonder if they just flat out made that. I don't know how long that would have taken to make like the fake trees and stuff. So I'm assuming it's real. It's just in some remote area, especially because it's Evil Dead, so they tend to just find great locations. But I loved how that forest looked. I'm like, I've never seen anything where a forest just looks that creepy. But every time you watch an Evil Dead movie, even the remake was like that, and it was just like, this is a really creepy looking forest, and just the places they find just always looks so good when they do like the forest stuff. And they had a lot of the great panning and everything for like just the kind of blackness coming at people and stuff. The camera swoops and everything looked really good in this episode. I don't know why it seems so much better than the other ones, but for some reason it just seemed really cool. The first shot when it was in like the big open field, I really loved that one because it was so low to the ground and it wasn't moving or swaying. It was just shooting towards one thing, and it was just really sped up footage, and it was covering a lot of ground, but it was still kind of far away even when they cut from it. And for some reason that scene really, really stood out to me. I don't know why. It was just like right at the ground and it's just shooting across, and I just thought that looks really amazing. And then the other scenes, they all look really great. Every time they always look really cool. But I really enjoyed this episode. I'm looking forward to this next one. I'm really excited to see what they do with them surrounded by guns, and apparently Pablo trying to figure out what weapon type user he is, which I thought was pretty funny, especially the chain thing. So looking forward to that. Another great song as well. By the end of this episode, they had Sticks. I think it's just titled Wanted is the name of the song, but I really love that song. I like the other song that they use, but I like this one more. I actually have this one on my phone, so I was like, oh, I really, really love this song, and I know the words to it. So that was pretty cool to hear that at the end, and I can't wait to see what we get for really the last handful, 1 month worth, of episodes, which sucks that it's so short, but what can we do? We're gonna get a season 2. I really hope we do. I hope this show got enough ratings for a second season because I love it. It's so good, but I, of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, of course, my big question is, what in the world happened with Ruby? Where is she? You know, if you have any speculations on what her initial kind of plan was with the Deadites, which I really think it was, hey, I'm going to team up with you guys so that we can both get rid of Ash, and then obviously it's the Deadites. Once they were actually brought back, it was like, crap, now I have to kind of renege on my deal and make sure that I get rid of them as well as Ash, because obviously before that it was just Ash. So that's what I think, but I want to know what you guys think. Where is she? Where is she going to show up in the next episode? If the next episode, if not, when and where do you guys think she might show up? So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.